Yeah, that's right.
You know.
We're gonna need-
Hey, everybody. It is Angie, and
It's B-Rad Celebrity Stylist welcoming you to another exciting episode of The Empowered Empath.
woo, here we are.
Woo!
So, while we're waiting for the chat to pop up, I'll
Yeah.
remind you my name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So, hey, if you're into that, hit that subscribe button and we'll get going. Now, today we are on the Empowered Empath, as Brad said. So we're going to start right off with our content. All right. So, Brad, let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
So are you starting us off or do you want
I'll
me to start off?
I'll
Oh,
start us off.
okay, let's
Shall
go.
we? Okay. So today we're talking about random acts of kindness because as empaths, we know that it's good for us to do this, right? So doing good for others produces those warm, fuzzy feelings that are associated with pride and a job well done. We know we should be more compassionate. We know we should show our gratitude by doing things for our community or people in need. But finding the time, the energy, and the motivation to do so, sometimes it seems really impossible. Maybe it could help you to know that helping people has a number of benefits for you too. I'm sure you already know if you're an empath, right? But stick with us and let's talk about why you should start performing random acts of kindness regularly. Brad, let's go.
Yeah, so our first one, or what we're going to go to, is a healthy heart. So, with a healthy heart, doing good deeds leads to positive feelings, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
we all know that. You probably didn't know that such a feel good emotion are linked to the production of a hormone in the brain called oxytocin. Oh, can I even talk this morning? So, oxytocin. Oh no, oxytocin. Well, it's one of those mornings. So hey, glad you're here. We're all human, we're all flawed, and we're all here together. So with oxytocin, so this hormone also has significantly positive effect on the cardiovascular system. Specifically, it causes nitrous oxide and other naturally occurring produced chemical to dilate the blood vessels that move blood to the heart. This dilation leads to lower blood pressure, thus positive heart healthy benefits are reached.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. And it just makes you happy. So helping someone is ultimately going to help you feel really good about yourself, right? Temporarily increasing your happiness. This happy feeling comes from another brain process. This time, your good feelings are due to an increase in the neurochemical dopamine. Y'all know about dopamine, right? Which actually gives you a similar feeling to being high on a drug. So if you want to increase this euphoric feeling more often, commit to regularly engaging in random acts of kindness.
Exactly. And it also decreases stress levels. So we all feel stressed out now and again. Overcoming these feelings can be hard because of a tendency to focus on your problems. This is known as rumination. And it's a tough cycle to break. One of the best ways to step out of this vicious cycle is to do something nice for someone else. How can you focus on your own problems when you're concentrating on another? Seeing what another person is going through can also give you perspective to help you see your own issues more clearly.
That's right. And it strengthens your relationship. So being kind to other people is bound to cause them to see you in a positive light. It's also scientifically shown to increase relational bonds. In prehistoric times, people needed to be kind to each other and work together in order to survive. So, this need has carried through to modern times, obviously. We feel closer to other people when we do something on their behalf, and they in turn feel closer to us, develop a stronger bond with us. These ties carry us forward toward developing a new or better relationship.
Exactly. And this one you'll like. It's contagious. It's true.
It's true.
Kindness is contagious. When we do good, it inspires similar action in those around us.
Mhm.
Surely you've heard stories of people, paying for the person behind them or in front of them at the a drive-through, causing a chain reaction, which multiple customers reciprocate by paying the tab of the car following them. Random acts of kindness may not, you know, may not be that random after all. You can intentionally attempt to set a wave of good deeds in motion by using this approach.
It's true. And these are just a few of the benefits associated with performing random acts of kindness. Overall, this little tiny action can demonstrate the ways in which we all are similar and we can all increase our empathy in dealing with other people. Anything that increases understanding and brings a smile to someone's face is a good thing, right, Brad?
It is. And they say when you're lively and you're friendly and you're doing acts of kindness, it certainly is contagious. If I raise my energy and say, wow, today's exciting, I got a big bright smile on my face, you instantly feel so much better. And you want to pass that along because it's now overflowing and exuding out of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, what do you think? We're going to go to the chat now, Brad. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Woo! Okay. We're all hopped up today. Happy Halloween, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Jillian says hello. Hello, Jillian.
Hello. Hello.
And hello, Malta. Andrea, she says, wait a minute. What is Andrea saying here? She says, I'm driving, but I'm here. No more typing.
No, no, just listen. Just
That's
listen.
right. That's right. Jillian says, yay, Tuesday. Mavis says, hey, empowered empath. Hey, girl. Hey, how you doing? And let's see here. Good morning, Angie. And B Rad says Malta, our amazing moderator.
Exactly. Good morning, Malta. Good morning, everyone. I know now we've been doing this for what, over a month, 5 weeks. I feel like every Tuesday, this is my home. I love everybody here, and we're just going to roll and have an exciting show today.
It's so much fun. We have a good time. Yes. And good morning, Candy. She says coffee cup clink. She says good morning to all of us. And Desiree Oxendine is here. Hi, Desiree. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you. We have Andrea says good morning to Malta. Eddie Knows says hello, Angie, and all of you glorious survivors. Carlita Vega in the house. Hey, girl, hey. And Kingdom Princess says hello, everybody. Hey, Kingdom Princess, how you doing? Let's see. Cindy Minton says good morning. Jillian's good morning to everybody. Hair changes colors back. We haven't seen her in a while. How you doing, girl? All right, let's see here. Okay. Eddie Knows says, it is so true that there was a 96-year-old lady at the, it is so true, period. There was a 96-year-old lady at the grocery store the other day, and I helped her put her groceries on the conveyor belt. She was so thankful. See, there you go. Random act of kindness. What do you think, Brad?
Exactly. It's always nice and say sometimes it's little, sometimes it's not so random. If you put your intention towards helping others, I think everything comes full circle. So whatever you sow, you reap, you put it out, it comes to you. I mean, but as I say, it's beautiful to help someone, make sure that they appreciate the help and want the help.
Yes, indeed. Of course. Of course. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Eddie No says, I felt good as well. And I said to myself, I should do this kind of thing more often. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, you know, like, I think, okay, this is silly, but one of the random acts of kindness that I do is I tip really well, which I know isn't really a random act of kindness, but I tip well because I think it's a pay it forward thing. But you never know. You know,
Actually, that's amazing because the industry I'm in, because I'm in hair service, right? So I deal with people all the time. What a lot of people don't know, and it's very different in the US than it is in Canada, a lot of service people depend on their tips to make up their wages and their paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And that's part of the reason I do that because I feel like, you know, maybe I can make the difference, you know, for that person that day. And my husband gets really annoyed with me, but I do it anyway. And I think it's benefiting me and me as well as the people that I'm, you know, good karma and all that stuff. So anyway, Lola Bell is here. She says, good morning, everyone. New to Angie's live shows. Well, happy to see you, Lola Bell. I hope you come back and see us again.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, indeed. And let's see here. Angela Scabelin in the house. Hey, girl. Hey. Danny Allen. Hello, Danny Allen. Kirsten Mills, my bad, says, I finally got the show live. Woohoo! Hey, Kirsten. All right, let's see here. Eddie Knows says, I've decided to write my daughter letters almost daily. This is great, Eddie. And document everything so when she's older, she can read all the letters and know the other side. Now, the reason Eddie's telling us this is because he was saying that his ex has made his daughter kind of distant from him yesterday. So I think that's an excellent idea, Eddie. I really love it. And I would suggest also considering maybe making some videos for her so that she can see your face as she grows up, you know? All right. Shannon O'Brien. Hey, hey, Shannon. She says, hey, Angie and Brad. Be red. And Bonnie says, good morning, Angie, Brad, and everyone. All right. Let's see here. Elizabeth Long says the best way to smile is give one away. Totally agree.
Exactly. And for a lot of people, if you have nothing to share, sometimes that smile that you give someone can
Mhm.
change their world. You never know if they're, planning to jump off a bridge or do something desperate. Sometimes that one person, just by smiling at them, may give them some hope and change their lives entirely.
That is so
Yeah.
true. That is
Mhm.
so true. And I think that's why it's so important
Yes.
to be kind to people. You don't know what people are going through. You're absolutely right. Yeah. All right. Very good. Great point. Let's see. Elizabeth says, hi, Elizabeth. She says, hi, guys, watching you from Nairobi, Kenya. Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Hey,
Wow.
girl. She says, you guys are wonderful. Thank you for being you. We're so happy to
Yeah,
have you. Thank you
yeah.
so much for being here. Let's see here. Candy Cook says, I appreciate your act of kindness for helping my mind. It brings a smile to my face. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, be Tommy D says, be red in the house.
That's right, Tommy D. Every week, every Tuesday, come see us.
That's right.
We love
That's
that
right.
you're here.
We do. Always, always. Danny Allen says, I'm heading out today to do some random acts of kindness. Halloween treats instead of tricks. Oh, I love that, Danny. That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Shannon also tries to give good tips. Very good. Eddie No says, there you are, Tommy boy. All right. Tommy D says, sup, y'all? Good morning, all my fearfully and wonderfully made creatures. Love and hugs to all this morning. Thank you, Tommy D. Kingdom Princess says, Tommy, hi. I was wondering where you were. Shannon O'Brien says, my son is My son is starting to ask for a quarter to put in a Dunkin' Donuts cup. I'm so proud of him.
Oh.
That's
Mhm.
really sweet.
Mhm.
All right, let's see here. Okay. Thank you, Malta. Let's see here. Eddie Knows says, thank you, Angie. I'm so glad you think it's good. And yes, great idea. I'll make videos as well. Very good. Tommy D says, doing swell and all is well with my soul. Praise God. Sorry I was late. That's okay, Tommy. We still love you. Oh, Freedom Lee is here. Hey, Freedom Lee. She says, hi, Angie and Brad. Thanks for being here today. Love this chat. Happy to have you, girl. All right, wait a minute. I'm trying to. Okay. Now, Shannon O'Brien agrees with you here, Brad. She says she's had a smile light up her day as well, and sometimes it has made a huge difference.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's what it is. People read your emotions. They can see you, and especially us as empaths, we're very much so about other people's emotions. So I think for ourselves, we should be aware too what we're putting out and how people take us as well. Because a lot of people think they're one way, but they're actually perceived another way. But that smile, just sending it out, you just show a grin, even if it's a big toothy grin, and you think you've got the most worst smile ever, just show
Pop it
those
out
things,
there.
because when you smile you beam and everything lights up and people can see that light within you. So don't hide that light, just
Yeah,
share it. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Now, oh, this is an interesting question from Lola B here. She
Yeah.
says, would you say a random act of kindness is creating a new neural path or helping to create one? I would say it definitely can. Yeah. And this brings me, I just have to come right
Mhm.
around full circle on this really quick. And Brett, I want to hear your input too,
Mhm.
but real quick on this question, because I've talked a lot about the neurotransmitters and the way they work with having been abused and
Mhm.
moving forward because we lose the ability to naturally create
Yeah.
dopamine when we're in one of those
Mhm.
situations. And so Lola Bell here is absolutely right. It's definitely a great way to create a new neural path and to begin to naturally make dopamine again. Just like just like loving people in your life, loving a pet, just like finding reasons to laugh and smile.
Mhm.
This is really good stuff, girl. It's just like being
Mhm.
grateful. It's the same deal. Brad, what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's amazing because there is something called anchoring, and I think that's what you kind of really need to do. You need to anchor new patterns. So what you used to associate old things with, now you kind of anchor something new that now brings you joy, where you're looking at the situation a lot differently than what it was. You just reframe it in a new way, and obviously it does. If you anchor it into something positive, you're going to change your neural pathways, change, and you're going to spread that out. So now that it means something different for you, it can also mean something different for others as well.
I love that. And you're so right. You're so right. So good. Yes. Yes. Hair Changes Color says, I feel like I've missed so much. I'm loving this session. The world needs more empathic action. I totally agree. And I'm so glad you're
Exactly.
back. How have you been? Tell us what's going on, girl. We missed you. Okay. All right. Wait a minute. Now, Divine Time says, wait a minute. The random acts, oh geez, I hate when that happens. I lose my spot. Hold on. Here it goes. She says the random acts of kindness do more for you than even the receiver. It's a win-win. And I totally agree with that. Totally agree.
Yeah, 100, yeah, percent all the time. I think it's the same like forgiveness. You know what I
Yes.
mean? When they have that saying that says, if you take the poison and expect someone else to die, it's the same with forgiveness. You're doing it more really for yourself than for them because you're just letting go of all that stuff. Because a lot of times when somebody's done something to you, they've moved on. They don't even think about you anymore. And here you're holding all that in your mind and letting it ruminate and stuff like that. You just let it go.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And it does. It brings I cannot tell you how often just the tiniest letting somebody in front of you in traffic or,
Mhm.
you know, one of the other random acts of kindness I frequently use
Yeah.
is when I'm at the grocery store. If I have like a big cart full of stuff, if I see somebody behind me with
Yeah.
two or three things, I'm like, go ahead. Because
Yeah.
A, that doesn't hurt my feelings because honestly, by the time I unpack my cart, they're going to be long gone, right? It's
Exactly, exactly. And I think the person really appreciates behind you, and that's happened to me as well. You pay it forward, or I'm like, there's a lineup, and then just out of the blue, somebody will say, well, you only have one item because usually I'm racing out from work and racing back, and they're like, and just go.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And they're appreciative, and that's a thing too. It really does, I think, fill your heart with joy when you do that. And the more you do it, I think it just becomes a natural pattern, and you start doing it. You don't think about it anymore.
you're right.
Yep.
That's absolutely true. And it feels good. It just feels good, the
Yeah.
tiniest things. Now, Bonnie has a great
Uh,
question. She says, how does an empath stop overgiving if that's your nature? And I think for me, it's about creating boundaries and learning to love yourself enough to have the boundaries in place. But, you know, the boundaries have to be about taking care of yourself. Brad, I'd love to hear your thoughts on
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mentioned this about setting boundaries in a couple of videos ago, and it really is because when you're saying no to others, you're saying yes to yourself. And yes is part of self-care, which I actually just wrote. This is not a plug, but I did write. I just wrote a 100-page book on our Thanksgiving for people in my industry. It's the A to Z of salon professional self-care. And as I say, within minutes of posting it, I had over 70 likes. So self-care is something people really, really need, but setting the boundaries is key. You don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel, because I know people, they feel bad about doing it for others, doing it for their friends, doing it for family, because you're obligated. But I think too, if you don't take care of yourself first, how can you take care of anyone else?
it. Absolutely. Yeah, you're so right. And now, okay, Nargis says, yesterday I had a flashback instead of crying and
Yeah,
hyperventilating. I was able to bring myself to the moment
yeah.
and looked at the blessings around me and thanked the Lord for removing my ex from my life. That's excellent, Nargis. I'm really happy to hear that you were able to overcome that moment. Renee says, we do the drive through difference here
Mhm.
on Thursdays or whatever day. We pay for the person in the drive through behind us. Makes my day and hopefully blesses theirs. I love that.
Mhm.
Love it. Okay. Tommy D says, surviving narcissistic abuse, I soon found myself being over vigilant and thinking everyone was a narc, but I learned I was emotionally projecting a little bit. Not everyone's a narc. That's true. Good point. Good point. All right. And Hair Changes Color says, that is so true. It's amazing what a smile can do. I had a person at the assisted living where I'm working say, this isn't a happy place. It's nice to see with someone smile. Excellent. All right. Oop. Eddie knows. Where did you go? I lost your place. Hold on. Hey, when that happens. Okay. Uh, all right. Eddie Knows says, thank you, Shannon. So glad you guys like the idea about the letters. He says, I'll give her the letters when she's 18 or 20 and she's mature enough and her mind is more grown up. Yeah. Even, I started to write letters to my oldest child and I should have done it for everybody. But the moment I found out I was pregnant, because I was so clueless, but I started to write letters and I read them with him. I think he was about 16. And I felt like I had been able to, because I kind of wrote down like all the things that I wanted to do as his parent and all the things I wanted him to understand about me and himself and life and la la la. I felt like I was able to do a lot of those things. So that turned out okay for the most part. But I should have done it for all my kids, but I didn't. Um, Adrian says, good morning, beautiful people. Hey, Adrian. How you doing? Okay. Now, Brad, I'm going to let you take this on. How do you trust again after being in battle with narcopaths all your life?
Wow. What a great question. Because for me, I've actually been in a couple of romantic relationships with narcissists, as well as some business venture with narcissists. And it really does kind of affect your brain and how you think, and it's a matter of changing, because through my own process, I mean, studying and see like that, because with a simple system, especially if you've been watching a lot of Angie's videos on her channel, it starts off very slow, it's subtle, you're their world, you're on a pedestal, they start love bombing and you think, wow, this is amazing, then you get in deeper, and then now you were the greatest person on earth. Now everything is switched, and now you're the total opposite, and nothing can be good enough for them. They demand, they drain your energy, they pull everything out. Lucky enough for me, by the time I got finished with that first one, I studied enough that to find the different techniques that I could use in order to get rid of them, or also to identify the patterns. But in your brain, it's very tough, because every new person you meet, you assume that they have, narcissistic tendencies, or are they a narc, or are they, going to do something to me, or is this real? Because it can really mess you up a little bit as well, because you've been through so much abuse emotionally, not so much physically, but emotionally, that um, it really kind of skews your perception of life, of people. How can you trust people again? But the thing is, it's again, it's about anchoring. It's about anchoring new thoughts, new neural pathways, new things, looking at life differently. Just because you're in that relationship, you're not necessarily a victim. You're definitely a survivor. And if you look at yourself a winner, because you came, you know, through that process. I mean, and one thing, depending on your belief system, but if God brings you through it, if God brings you to it, God will bring you through it. So anything that you're given in life, you can definitely handle, and you can come out a lot stronger on the other side. The best thing is to identify and just make other people aware, because I think it happens a lot more commonly than what people think. It's not only women that get affected, it's men also.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. Absolutely. Now, Kristen Mills says, my covert narcissist mother-in-law told my husband only 4 hours prior to the funeral, I guess of her father-in-law, that he was the pallbearer. I'm sure she wanted him to need her, but he didn't ask, and people ahead of him paid for all his clothes, $160. She said that random act of kindness really blessed our family and shows me that we are on the right path in dealing with my mother-in-law. Well, I'm really happy to hear that you were able to, that the situation was handled without having to involve her, because I totally understand how that would feel. And that's really good news. And there it is, a random act of kindness blessing someone else. That's a very good thing. Now, Candy Cook says, when a narcissist does an act of kindness, it's to brag. When an empath does it, it's from the heart. Absolutely. I can't tell you, and I won't tell you how many random acts of kindness I've pulled without mentioning to anyone. But anything from buying Christmas gifts for a child who won't get any, and letting the parents give the gifts to the child, or you know, I won't even go into any more detail right now. But my point is, little things, people, the tiniest things, something that, you know, if you can find out and help someone and keep it to yourself, it's a beautiful thing. A narcissist wouldn't do that. A narcissist, you're absolutely right, would yes, they would buy a gift for the child who had no gifts, but then they would project it on and tell the whole wide world about it, and make the kid take a picture with a gift and put it on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's the same sort of thing. Look at me. I'm the star. I'm the center
Mhm.
of attention. They always want. I mean, but random act of kindness, if you can do that and you can do things for people, and that's the biggest thing. It's not wanting to be noticed or appreciation. You're just in the background. You're just working in people's lives, whether it's buying someone's food, helping someone on the street that's homeless, whether it's, doing something for your family or sending a financial gift, doing anything like that. I think one of the best random acts of kindness you can actually do is one for yourself, which is writing yourself a love letter,
Mhm.
which I don't think most people do.
I
But
love
if
it.
you take the time and you write that love letter to yourself, you're going to be amazing at what comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Tommy D says there are good, true people out there, and you will find them after the whole narco deal ordeal fizzles out and we begin to move on and trust again. Totally. Yeah. And Shannon O'Brien says, Tommy D, I can so relate. It seems to be quite common to swing to being overprotective. I'm hoping I will soon learn to be a little bit more in the middle. I think it's already happening a bit. Yeah, it's a process. It's always a process,
Mhm.
but it's definitely growth. Yeah. Let's see here. Conchetta Blessed is in the house. Hey girl, hey, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a minute. Glad to see you. And let's see. Nargis. Okay, let's see. Liz Morin is here. Good morning, Liz. How are you? Hair changes color, got a new job. Oh, that's awesome. She says, and I've been filling in for my boss who was out because of surgery. So I've been missing my Angie sessions in the morning. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm so glad you're here today. So glad you're here today. All right. Julia Richardson is here. She says, good morning, all. Good morning. And Tommy D says it does balance out. What a blessing to begin to move past just surviving and begin thriving. I love it, Tommy. All right, a couple more, and then we'll get ready to wrap up in a minute here. Let's see here. Oops, hold on. I lost my place again. All right. Here we go. Jillian says okay, wait a minute. Let me scroll back up because I missed a whole bunch of comments. Let's see. La 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 la. Okay. Also, Hair Changes Color says she's been driving cancer patients in their appointment as a volunteer. That's beautiful. I'm so happy to hear that. She says, so I've been busy and good. That's very cool. All right. Eddie No says, I'm surviving, definitely not thriving, but I want to thrive. I'm just not there yet. Hey, that's okay. Surviving is where you start, my friend. It's a process. Don't beat yourself up. All right. Keep coming and seeing us too. All right. Now, Nargis says, Brad is so right. If you don't take care of you, how can you take care of others? Truth. She said, I was once upon a time putting everyone first and neglected myself, but no more. Absolutely. And let me just remind you about how it is on an airplane. Okay. You have to put your mask on before even your child's. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Okay. Thoughts on that, Brad?
Yeah, it's perfect. And it is, because if your own reservoir isn't filled, then you can't give what you don't have. You can't give love if you're not filled with love. You can only give what you're filled with. You know what I mean? Joy, energy, love, forgiveness, whatever it might be. You always have to make sure that your tank is always full and not empty. So if you have your meter and it's going down, it's time. That's your body telling you flags that, hey, I need to do something. I need to correct something in my life.
Truth. Yeah. Yeah. Tommy D says, you will get there, Eddie. It takes time. You're doing great in survival mode. And believe me, life gets better. Totally agree, Tommy. Thank you so much for supporting your fellow survivors and soon to be thrivers. Nargis says, I have noticed since I've been focusing on myself and my home and my kids, I'm having an even much closer loving relationship with my kids. She says, out of nowhere, they do random acts of kindness for me. Amazing and beautiful. Happy to hear that, Nargis. Love, love, love it. Eddie No says, Tommy, thank you, brother. I'm patient and I'm in it for the long haul. So it's just one brick at a time. Yes. To which Tommy D replies, hope, hope, hope. Keep it alive and take it slowly, one day at a time, my friend. Absolutely. And keep the light inside you shining bright. Love it. Julia Richardson says, I definitely feel that I'm an empath. I'm in recovery from BPD, but it's an uphill struggle. I'm trying a relationship with boundaries, trying to be healthy and move away from my narcissist mother and core wounds. Well, honey, that's all you can do. Keep trying. That's how you succeed. Everybody who ever succeeded tried first. You don't succeed unless you try. So you're on the right path. Eddie No says, yeah, Brad, it's about reinforcing your foundation. So that's true, man.
Exactly. You want a strong core, and you always want to keep, so those that feel stuck or you're in that place, because I've been in that place, and a lot of us, I think all here today, have been in that place. But as long as you're taking steps forward, it doesn't matter if you think it's the right way or the wrong way, as long as you're just taking some type of action in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, Jillian says, I've been single and not dating for well over a year, and I feel like there are still pieces of my life I need to pull together before I do that. I hope I don't wake up one day 10 years from now alone. Jillian, you won't unless you choose to. It's totally acceptable, and not just acceptable, but recommended to take your time when you're healing from this kind of abuse. I think you're on the right path. I think you're doing great. You're doing so many good things for yourself. You're taking back your life. You're owning your own physical health. I've seen you out running marathons. I've seen you doing all this amazing stuff. You look gorgeous. Your skin glows. Girl, you're on the right path. Don't beat yourself up. Keep going. You're on the right path. Any words of wisdom for
Yeah,
Jillian today?
exactly that. Because I mean, the narcissist was so hard on us. Why do we need to be so judgmental, so critical of ourselves? And I think we can be harder on ourselves than anyone else. Just for everybody, lighten up.
Mhm.
Simple as that. Let it go. Just be who you are. Don't be put in somebody's box of how you're supposed to be, because I think every day we change, we get new information, we have new thoughts, we grow, we learn, we change. There's so many different facets to us that
Yeah,
we can't just be always somebody's, how they want us to be. Just be ourselves, be your core, and just be authentic.
absolutely. Yeah. And Bonnie says, wow, Brad, thank you. Those are very precious words of wisdom. If God brought you to it, he will bring you through it. Thank you.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Eddie Knows says, Jillian, I feel you. It's been a year for me too, and I'm not ready either. You guys, it's okay if you're not ready.
Hmm.
Jillian says, I think it gets worse when you get older. Yes. And I think up to a point, that's true. Shannon says, Nargis, I'm so happy to hear that you and your children are getting closer. Tommy D says, Julia, that's got to be so tough. I've been taking my new relationship super slow because I want to be sure her heart and motives are pure and for me, not against me. Smart. Yeah. Eddie Knows says, my therapist thinks I'm ready to date. I'm almost ready, but where do you find a good person? Definitely not on dating sites, that's for sure. I think there are so many different places. I mean, I think it's about getting involved. I mean, I'm sure Tommy D would tell you to go to church and find a good person, or you could go to meetup groups that, with people that have similar interests to you, or you could get involved in a local community center, or what are you into, Eddie Knows? Tell me so I can give you some better ideas. Any thoughts for him, Brad?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of it also can be internal as well. So, I mean, be the person that you want to date.
Ooh, I love that. You're so right. That's so good. I
Yeah,
love
so you definitely do. And as soon as you're strong and confident and secure within yourself, you're going to exude that. But also, it raises your vibration. And usually, if you're into law of attraction, like attracts like. So if you're here, you're going to find somebody who's here. If you're here and somebody's here, they're just going to, pass by. But just energetically, don't worry about the how.
it.
Just be that person, and you'll attract naturally who is supposed to be in your life. And just
Absolutely.
accept it for what it is. Don't put those judgments out there, because I'll say myself, that's what I did with people. Sometimes I push people away because of my past, which maybe I shouldn't have, because I was so guarded. But now that I know, you just got to take people as they are, know the signs, and if you think something's off, chances are trust your gut and get out of there. But be the man or be the woman that you would want to be with.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Narga says, yeah, it does get worse when we get older, but I have accepted my situation. I'm making the most of my time by staying busy, that by evening I can retire to a quiet moment. That makes a lot of sense, Nargis, and that's good for your healing self. So I'm glad to hear that. Jillian says, the thing for me is, oops, I'm still really exhausted. Let me find
Mm.
where she was here. Jillian. Okay, hold on. Oh, geez. Okay, here it goes. I'm still really exhausted from the relationship, but I'm starting to think about sharing my life with someone, so maybe that's good. Yes, it is good because that's an indication that you're starting to move and you're going to be just fine, Jillian. You're starting
Hmm.
to move in the right direction. Yeah, you're still exhausted from the relationship. Yeah, you're still like a little gun shy, but you don't want to be like jumping into anything. So when you're ready, you'll know it. Your mind is moving in that direction, and that's good. And when you're ready, you will start to find people who are, like Brad said, on the same level. And that's where you're definitely raising your game. I know that for sure. Yeah. Not that you needed to. It was never you in the first place, but moving on. Yes. Yes. And let's see here. Yeah. Shannon and Tommy say that the truth will be revealed eventually to Eddie's daughter, and I totally agree with that. And
Hmm.
Eddie, it will happen. Yeah. Um, Now, Bonnie says that's very interesting, Brad. I never heard
Yeah.
that before, writing yourself a love letter or even a recognition of yourself and all the good things you've done. Yeah, I love it
Mhm.
too. It's a great idea. Yeah, definitely. Any comments on that, Brad?
Yeah, exactly. Because we're probably one of the last people, like, I mean, and say, how can you love anybody else when most people don't even love themselves? And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times that's what happens with these relationships. You have so low self-esteem, you know what I mean? You always pick out your own flaws or whatever it might be, because what you think is your flaw may be something that makes you unique. You know what I mean? If you don't like writing, and
Mm-hmm.
the chances are if you're really into it, I mean, I challenge you just to be raw, to be real. If you want to put it on video, you can put it on video too. Put it in a time capsule, go to yourself years later and say, hey, future you. So what, yeah, actually, here's an exercise. I'll do a challenge you. So this is a three-parter. So one, you're going to talk to your inner child.
Mm-hmm.
So with what you know now, have a letter that goes to your inner child. So if you knew then what you know now, one to your present self, and then one to your future self 20 years from now. So you want to write three different letters to each of those people, and just go from there. I'd love to hear next week if you guys are on, how the process was and how it worked for you. But the more real, raw you are, try to get yourself away from any distraction. Write those love letters, put everything into them, and you'll be amazed at what comes out.
I love that. And you're so right. Do your assignments, people. That's your homework. Don't forget.
Yeah.
I love that, Brad. Okay. Now, I feel like I really know Tommy D pretty well at this point
I
because
love Tommy D.
I do too. He just said, did I not just say a couple minutes ago that Tommy D probably would say meet a woman at church?
Uh-huh.
Tommy D says, Eddie. He says, I refuse to meet a woman at a bar. That scene is so old. He said, I
Mhm.
actually had my first date at church. We worship
Yeah.
together. Ange knows.
It's perfect. And I think that's exactly it. If somebody's in alignment, what your core values are, it's always gonna mesh. It's always gonna
Yeah.
work out. So if your thing is your faith,
Hmm.
let that grow, and nobody's gonna start to distract you away from who you really are. So it doesn't matter how bad you want a relationship, always stick to your core.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. Bonnie says that's a very good idea, journaling about yourself. Yes, it is. She said we have to honor ourselves as well as taking care of others. Absolutely right, Bonnie. Freedom Lee says, I will have to write myself a love letter soon. Great advice. Yes.
Mhm.
And let's see here. Adrian says, I wanted to say I was so proud of my 14-year-old son yesterday. We were at the dentist. When we were about to leave, he quickly went to the door and held the door open for a man in a wheelchair. I always love that. And that's awesome, Adrian. Thank you so much for sharing that. My 14-year-old son does similar things. Maybe it's a year of the whatever they are. Anyway. All right, let's see here. Bonnie says a self-correction boundary when we are depleted. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Tommy D says bar drinks, sex, blah blah. That creates new soul ties that causes nothing but more emotional baggage and emotional chaos. Never again. I totally feel you, Tommy D, and you're absolutely
Mhm.
right. Yeah.
Exactly. I live my life very clean, but I think it's also important. I'm not sure if Angie, you've done a video on this or not, but on cord cutting.
Yes, actually, I have. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's one of the best ways to get rid of those people energetically that either are no longer in your life or those that are
Mhm.
zapping your energy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Eddie knows says, Adrian, that means you're doing an amazing job as a parent. Keep it up. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Shannon O'Brien says, one thing I learned in my neuroplasticity program was the importance of encouraging others. I'm finding that by doing this, the negative thoughts decrease and there are just even enough time to, there are just, there's just even enough time to do both. There's not enough time to do both. So you're absolutely right, Shannon. And I love that. And I think it's so, so important. Yes. Tommy D says, strong core. Yes, be rad. Moving forward slowly, having strong
Mhm.
boundaries, and getting to really know someone slowly the first few dates. Do not jump into bed with someone, please. It's true. It's true.
Mhm.
As much as we'd like to, in our current society, with all the, what is it? What are those apps called?
Oh,
Uh,
like, was it like just for like Tinder? Was
Tinder and
Yeah.
Grinder and
Yeah,
all
any
those
of
apps.
those. Yeah, I guess any way to meet up. I mean, I don't know I don't use them, but I don't know necessarily if you're going to meet the quality people that.
You're not.
No,
Those,
I think everything is like, I don't know, like I'm surprised, like, let's go for coffee means something, and let's do Netflix and chill means something. There's
right.
never just like, let's go out and walk, let's go out in nature, let's go out. And so if that's you, be there, because and it's not to say that if you meet somebody in a bar, you meet somebody online, it's not going to work. You
Right.
know, It may or may not, but chances are the quality person, you're not really going to get to know somebody online, because any online person can have this persona, you know, that's not even them. Here with us, you're getting the real, authentic, Brad and Angie, and this is us. This is how we talk when we're online. This is how we talk when we're offline.
Yeah,
This is how, like, the way we are now is the way we are in our lives. We
that's
live
right.
authentically. We live our truth. And the proof is in the pudding, you know what I mean? So basically, you can see the fruits of our labor by on here. And I think, like, gifting everybody and sharing and doing all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
is just amazing. But I'll hand it off to you because I'm just rambling now.
That's okay.
But stick to your core and write yourself a love letter. I mean, you should love
Absolutely.
yourself first before you love anybody else.
Yeah, and steer clear of those apps that we talked about, because I'm just going to add this one thing. They're literally there for hookups. And hookups, for those of us who are, over 40, that they mean sex.
Yeah.
They mean meeting random people for sex. And that is not okay if you're trying to not create a bunch of new soul ties.
No, and you're not going to find that. You're not going to find that intimate, mental connection. You're not going to find that sapiosexual that you're looking for. And obviously, that's somebody who sees the intelligence and loves the intelligence of others. If you didn't know what that means, and people that are highly intelligent find it very difficult to find a relationship. And I think Angie talked about this one before, and maybe we could do this in an upcoming episode about empaths and love.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you something, the sapiosexual thing. I just put a thing on my timeline the other day, and Brad and I agreed that we're both sapiosexuals. Yeah. We like people who are intelligent. Yes. Okay. Adrian says he did that on his own. He's always had her son. He's always had a beautiful heart since he's been little. I'm so happy. My narc husband hasn't gotten the best of him. He's an empath like you, my love. That's a good thing. Yes. Bonnie says this has been an amazing video today. I think we are really making progress. Thank you, Brad and Angie. Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yes. Tommy D, are those smiley faces for me to know that you were going to say church? Is that what that's about? Okay.
Hey.
Hi. Nargis says it has been 3 years for me, and I'm enjoying my time for me. I'm not even thinking about dating as a priority. That's okay. When you're ready, or if you're ready, it's okay. The way I see it is, at this point, I'm never having any more children. So if I am ever single again, I will remain so, legally speaking. I'm not saying I won't date people, but I will never get married again. It's too much. Anyway.
Exactly. And for me, I mean, when I had my breakups, I took the time for myself. I know a lot of male friends, because they don't want to go through the process. They jump into another relationship right away, so they don't have to think about it. Then they have somebody else to go to dinners with, go to movies with, do whatever with. But for me, I just took that alone time, because as empaths, we really need that alone time to recharge, to be in nature, to be with animals, to be with ourselves. And that's what you should really do, is start doing, as I say, your self-love, setting your boundaries, go through those emotions, go through those processes, because it'll really tell you who you are at the core as a person.
That's right. Yep. Tommy D says, yes, social engagements that don't involve alcohol. I feel you, man. Because alcohol, it does bad things to a person. It does. It makes you incapable of actually embracing the truth. It makes you see things, beer goggles and all that. You see people differently, and it's not good. It's not good.
Exactly. It dulls the neurons. You're not able to judge properly. I mean, it impairs your judgment, and it's actually, alcohol is a depressant.
Yes. And it's just so unhealthy in so many ways. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I lost my place again in the chat. Okay. Let's see. So Tommy D's alcohol thing. Okay. Julia Richardson says, thank you. Yes, we're going slow too, and mum's the word because no one cares or will sabotage the whole thing. Makes sense. Sheila is here, and she says, howdy. Hey, girl. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. And Shannon says, I've taken awesome classes on community education, line dancing, guitar, literature. There are so many choices. Yeah, and that's a great way to meet people who are on the same level, have similar interests. It's a good start. Yeah, even though I know Shannon's not dating because she's married to a non-narcissist, but
But
her
I think
mother is.
even in
Yeah.
a relationship, you can still date your husband, your wife, keep that
Yes.
spark and keep that fire alive. Just because now you put a ring on it doesn't mean that everything.
That's right.
And you remember why you guys fell in love, and you keep that alive. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely true. Totally true. Yeah. All right. Adrian says, Angie and Brad, I will start doing that. Brad, you were so right in what you were saying. Yes, indeed. And Eddie knows says, Angie, Brad, Shannon, yes. Bonnie says, I love that. Be the person you would like to date. Excellent, Brad. Those are great thoughts. Raise your vibrational level. Yes, indeed. Jillian says, span poll ideas for finding dates that are not bars, such as a pottery class, stained glass window class, volunteering at animal shelters, foot races, and other community events. We should do a span poll. That's a great idea, Jillian. You should. I'd like it if you would start that for me, and I will happy to come in there and chat it up. Tommy D says, so right, B-Rad, we attract what we are, and the brighter we shine, the better person you'll attract. Raise the bar high, my friends. You're worth it. Don't settle. Yes, I agree. Yes. And
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. And meeting new people, I don't know if you guys have it. We have it here. It's meetup.com.
yeah, we have
So
it.
yeah, so basically there, if you love hiking, if you love nature, if you love going to the theater, you're going to find people there, and that's what it really did for me to get me out, because I'm by nature, even though I'm on stage, I speak in front of thousands of people, but me personally, I'm very introverted. So in order to get me out socially, I found meetup.com was a great way for my interests, because I love theater, I love hiking, I love nature, I love, helping and paying it forward. Or if Bible study is your thing, you're going to find whatever group you need, and you're going to find like-minded individuals. And that's a great way to sign up and get yourself out there.
Truth. I love that. Yeah. And I think it's totally true. Now, Carlita says, I don't think dating sites are bad. You have to vet and qualify someone no matter where you meet them. Going to church does not make you a good person, just like staying in a garage does not make you a car. You're right. 100%. And I will not go into any personal details on that, but I know this to be true from my own experiences. And you're right. Dating sites are not necessarily bad. A lot of the people on the dating sites are bad, but she's right. You have to vet and qualify someone no matter where you meet them. And if you do use a dating site, take proper precautions, just like you would anytime. You know what I mean? For anybody, but certainly don't put yourself in a position to assume that just because you're going to church, you're a good person. I think we all know that. I think even Tommy D knows that. We've talked about it before. Yeah, because of my personal experiences, I've had outside of this chat, I've had a conversation or three with Tommy D about this very thing. So he knows it. We all know it. But I appreciate you bringing it up, Carlita, because you're absolutely correct with that. Yes. And Eddie says, good point, Carlita. I hear you, but dating sites are infested with attention seekers. But yes, I'm sure there are some good people. Yeah, of course there's some good people, but there's also some there are jerks. I mean, you wouldn't believe. I mean,
exactly.
right?
If it's 5 years later and they have the same photo and they haven't found someone, to me that's a flag.
Red
Yes, I
flag.
have. I mean, I've tried it. I never last any more than 2 to 3 days, and that's it. I'm not on any sites. I mean, I meet a lot of people naturally. I'm just happy for me personally. I'm happy, with self-love in a healthy way, getting out in nature, communicating, doing that kind of stuff. So that's what works for me. And because I can help others and give back, that's my relationship and my, sort of my business is my vocation. I get to work one-on-one with people. I get to talk to them. I get to help them, just in subtle ways, and whatever little bits of information I can impart. That's amazing. But it's all, like Angie, it's from our own life experience. And
Yes,
if we didn't go through it, we wouldn't be able to share it and help others.
that's right. Yeah. Carlita Vega says, Jillian, be your fabulous self and grace the presence of a deserving man. If he doesn't deserve your presence, keep it moving. You are the prize. Damn right.
Exactly.
Yes.
And well, there's that saying that says, if they treat you, let's see, you're it's about being a priority and an object. If somebody treats you like an object rather than
An
a priority,
option rather than
an
a.
option. Exactly, that's it. And that's a good way. If you're not a priority in someone's life and you're only an option, chances are they got lots of other options.
And so do you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Tommy D says, wow, what a great idea to process emotions. Great idea, Brad. Yeah, totally. Um, Narga says, I married a guy who I met at a worship place and was so pious, yet allowed 20 years of abuse on me and treated me like I never existed. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Not all are, though. Well, that's the whole point, and you're absolutely right. You know, you can meet from the outside, the biggest epitome of whatever religion you are, and certainly they can turn out to be an abuser, and that's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate. Again, I have personal experience in this particular area. But with that being said, you know, it's hard to you can't just assume that everybody who goes to whatever religious organization or institution that you're involved with is bad, like Nargis says. But certainly there are plenty of people who are using the church to hide their evil.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Yes.
Exactly. And Angie, you did an amazing video recently about that, about religious narcs and that sort of thing. I actually watched it. It brought me to tears because it really hit home. And it was something, if you can remember the name, mention it. If you guys watched that, it was an incredible video for me because it really moved me because
I think
it really connected with my heart. Yeah,
it was the one on religious abuse.
that's
Um,
it. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Powerful.
it's
Yeah.
thank you. It's
Hmm.
it's very close to my heart as well. Yeah. Shannon says, when I was 18, I heard that to find the right person, you need to be the right person. And I just didn't get it at all. Now it seems like a very normal thing to think. Well, Shannon, that's because you were raised by a narcissist and now you've grown and you've matured and changed and developed your own personality. And it, my friend, is a beautiful thing. I'm proud of you. Okay, Tommy D has lots of smiles. Um, Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Tommy says exactly.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Be yourself. Yes.
Hmm.
And Shannon says that makes total. Or Eddie knows says Shannon that makes total
Yeah.
sense. Jillian says thank you, Eddie. Doreen B. Hey, Doreen. She says, "Wow, B Rad, that is a great idea with the letters to yourself. I'm definitely
Hmm.
doing that. Absolutely,
Hmm.
yes." And Nargis says, "Yay to Carlita. We are a prize," and that is absolutely the truth, Nargis.
Hmm.
Absolutely the truth. Yes. Shannon O'Brien says, I went through the ringer before I could understand this simple statement. I feel you. Yeah. Jillian says, I guess when it comes down to religious or not, look at the actions and the feelings that we have around them. And that's true. But trust your intuition, trust yourself, right? You agree?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jillian says, I guess when it comes, oh, I already read that. Blah. Okay. Eddie Knows says, don't thank me, Jillian. Thank yourself for being strong enough to not give up on life and take the easy way out. Love it.
Yeah.
Love you. That's awesome. Okay. Madeline says, I agree. Meet a significant other at church. You have a greater chance of meeting someone of integrity, dignity, honor. If they adore God, they will adore you. If it's you know what? If it's a legit person, absolutely. But even at church, as Carlita mentioned, you must do your due diligence and make sure that they are, in fact, someone who is who you think they are, no
Mhm.
matter where you meet them, unfortunately. Yeah. Sheila says, I did not see this text soon enough to be
Yeah.
involved in the conversation. I do understand the need
Yeah.
for self love. Be present. Absolutely, Sheila.
Mhm.
Totally true. Um, thank you, Malta, for putting the video in. Okay, Bonnie loves the idea of writing the
Yeah.
letters. Very interesting homework for this week, she
Yeah.
says. Yes. Shannon said, Eddie No says, here's the truth. I must say, I used to lash out at the narcissist and call her horrible names to retaliate, and I have to be held accountable for that. Take a deep breath, Eddie. We all make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just saying it out loud and saying that it was wrong, that's enough. Move forward and change your behavior from here on out. But understand that every single one of us probably lashed out at a narcissist and said things that we shouldn't have said out of frustration and desperation, right? Can you
E-
relate to that, Brad?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, when I started calling my narcissists out on stuff, I saw what the real person was, which is like a scared little kid who
Mm-hmm.
like they act like they're all big and grandiose, but inside they're scared. They have lower self-esteem than probably you do. They have more self-loathing than you do. They're only tearing you down because they see you above them, and that's why
Yeah.
they want to take you down.
Yeah, that's right. Carlita says, Jillian, you're right. It's more about a relationship
Mhm.
with God than a religion anyway. I'm a member of a Baptist church, but it means nothing if I don't have a relationship with the Father. Vet and
Mhm.
qualify. Hashtag vet and qualify. I agree.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Let's see here. Woo, woo, woo. Tommy D says, Nargis, I'm so sorry, hon. I know they exist. That's why we must move slowly and always recognize the Holy Spirit in others because he's in me. Actions, not words. For yeah, totally agree. He's sorry she was duped. Okay. We're going to read one or two more comments, then we're going to wrap up. All right. Because we are just about out of time right now. Adrian says, when I'm finally released from this prison, I will focus on loving God, falling in love with myself, and more love and spending time with my kids. Also spending me and a healthy friendship. Hey, Adrian, start now. Don't wait. Don't wait. Today, this moment, love yourself. Today, this moment, you know, if God is your thing, get into that. If spending more time with your kids is your thing, get into that. Don't wait for that narcissist to go away. Release yourself. Start now loving yourself. Don't wait. Start now. Eddie Knows says, I now know that's not only wrong, but it doesn't help the situation at all, and it doesn't make me feel good about yourself. Good point. Excellent point. So now you've learned your lesson, but that doesn't mean you need to beat yourself up about it. And I don't know what you mean by being held accountable for it. You've already held yourself accountable, my friend. And plus, you went through a lot of punishment to get through it, right? Okay. Shannon says, Eddie, I think we've all been there. It is so hard to act the way we really want to when a narc is prodding us. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Okay. Oops. Put it in the wrong button. Okay. One last comment, two last comments because I love me some Brian. Hello, Brian, with your beautiful face. How are you? Okay.
That's our Brian.
I love him. Okay. Carlita says, Eddie knows lashing out is normal. I've done it. I'm not the narc. But it's difficult to keep calm when someone is abusive. She's right. And Brian says, I haven't had the experience with Tinder, but Grindr is definitely a hookup app. Yes. And I don't really know what I'm talking about because I'm married, Brian. So clarifying beyond that, I've never looked at either of those apps in real life. So Eddie Knows says, I'm not judgmental to each his own, but random sex with no connection is not interesting to me whatsoever. Yes, indeed. Sheila says, sapio, what sapiosexual? It means a person who is sexually attracted to intelligence in others. Yeah. Exactly. Brad and I were both sapiosexuals. Yeah. Yes. Tommy D says we should all go on an empath cruise in the Caribbean. Damn right we should. Yes. Doreen B would like us to do a show about empaths and love. All right. So Brad, next week.
Yep.
We're doing it. Yeah. Empaths and love. Okay. All right, you guys, we're wrapping up. B-Rad, last words for today.
Yeah. So it's like they say, it's always better to be selfless and selfish, but I think when it comes to yourself, you need to be a little bit selfish. If it means taking time, for yourself, if it means self-love, if it means, getting back some ground that somebody stole, it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay to set boundaries. The only prison that you're in is the one that you create. They may be able to take stuff from outside of you, but they can't take what's in here. No one can ever take that away from you. So I love you all. We'll see you next week. And over to you, Ange.
That's right. And I love you too. Okay. So real quick, I will be back here at 1 p.m. Central Time today for our second Talk to Me Tuesday session. And it'll be a regular support session. Other than that, you guys have been wonderful today. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of my day and part of my life. Thank you for letting me be a part of yours. B-Rad, as always, you're amazing and I love you. Thank you for being here. And I love you guys too. Have a wonderful day. We will see you very soon. Bye. Okay, now I gotta find my little thing to X out of the thing. Okay.